What up, guys, and welcome to the bracket opener for Nerd Fights. I'm super excited for this tournament to kick off, and who better than a couple of Fraction brothers to go off with this and kick us off? We have Travis and we have Alec, and of course, I'm not here by myself, guys. We have the big man, Kirk himself. Kirk, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good, Doug. Excited to be here. Always excited for a nerd fight. I've fought Alec before. I know what he's capable of, so I'm excited to see what Travis can do too. Going to be a good fight.
All right, Joe, man, you've been here before judging, man. How's it feel to judge in a nerd fight arena? I'm so excited, guys.
I'm excited too. I mean, I'm a nerd myself, so seeing people just, being able to argue about nerdy topics is so amazing, and I'm excited to see what the competitors bring.
All right, guys, so you know what it is. It's bracket one. We have Travis, we have Alec, and we're going to kick this thing off. But first, let me explain the rules real quick. There are four main round rules: 90 seconds, 5 minutes, 60 seconds, just like a movie Battlegrounds. You know what it is. You get a minute extension either in your opening or closing. No more debate extensions. Why help out your opponent? Help yourself. And lastly, the brand new rule for Nerd Fights and Game Zone, the timeout rule. If you can't control your second, if you can't control yourself, you get 10 seconds timeout. Both competitors cannot speak for 10 seconds while the clock is rolling. So, last but not least, let's get this thing started. And we're going to go to the first category, and that category is DC. So the question is, what must-read DC graphic novel is out there for newbies? And we're going to go to Travis first. Travis, 90 seconds on the clock whenever you start talking.
Okay, my pick for this is actually one I've read a couple of times over, and it is actually rooted. There we are. That's the word. In a lot of things we have today, like the Arkham series, the Nolan trilogy, or Nolan 2 movies, if you don't want to count Dark Knight Rises, and everything else since then. Even the Batman v Superman, that version of Batman itself, and that would be the Dark Knight Returns. Now, the Dark Knight Returns is a future-esque type book to where it's like, in case you didn't watch Batman Beyond, don't need to. This is its own encapsulated universe written by Frank Miller himself, the same guy who rebooted Daredevil. I think that might have been before or after this, I'm not really sure. But in either event, if you just read this book on its own, it stands on its own. It's a resurgence of what heroes used to be. It's a resurgence of what Batman used to be. And at a time when Batman was Adam West, eyebrows on the cowl, holy blank Batman. No, this is I will kick your butt and I will eat your soul for breakfast. I don't know. But this is a Batman that you do not want to find in Dark Alley. And by the way, the mutants, pretty big. And that mutant leader, you big. But then you got the first clash of Superman and Batman. That itself, just the entire monologue of what Batman says to Superman when he's in that little space is actually what they read at the San Diego Comic-Con announcement for this movie. Before they even had a trailer or anything else.
Time.
All right, time. Travis has got Dark Knight Returns. Alec, we're going to you. 60 seconds on the clock when you start talking. Tell me, what DC graphic novel are you bringing to the table?
Fellas, I am bringing you one, maybe a little bit off shelf, one that you might not have heard of or read or felt like you wanted to read, but I am going with Jeff Johns' Sinestro Corps War. This is one of my first pickups when I first started getting in the comics. When I walked into the store and I asked them what read should I get, I told them some of my favorite superheroes. They pointed me to this, and this book made me love comic books. You get so much. You get basically the creation of the Sinestro Corps. You get to see how the Guardians, who the Guardians are, and why they maybe aren't the best people or best beings to be deciding what is right and wrong in this universe. You get to have different things. It can be your first introduction to the Anti-Monitor, which, if you don't know DC, that can be a kind of out there character. But you get introduced to that. You can get introduced to Mogo. You see some incredible characters. You get all 4 of the human Green Lanterns in this book with Kyle Rayner. Jon Stewart, Guy Gardner, and Hal Jordan after Hal Jordan did one of the most despicable things in the DC universe. So this is a great pick by Travis. However, this one is not technically, in my opinion, the best to start off with. I believe Sinestro Corps War, if you want to get deep into this DC universe, is the best pick for that. And I yield my time.
All right. Bringing it out. And for newbies, the DC graphic novel is going to be interesting. We got Dark Knight Returns and Sinestro Corps War. Let's go, guys. 5 minutes on the clock when one of you starts talking.
Okay, so what is Sinestro Corps War outside of the prelude to what is a essential soft reboot to the DC universe, which is Sinestro Corps War? If you want to break this down in a trilogy, Sinestro Corps War, Blackest Night, and Brightest Day. Yeah, you get Sinestro, you get a lot of things, but you don't really get that deep into it until after you hit Blackest Night, because Blackest Night is where you get... I can't get my words. You get the meat of what this story is supposed to be, because it's the... In the Sinestro Corps War, you get the Blackest Night, essentially the Blackest Night prophecy, which the Guardians write off, but that doesn't come into fruition. That doesn't come to pass until the Blackest Night event itself. So what good is Sinestro Corps War itself? Yeah, you get Superboy Prime, you get Mogo, you get a lot of other things that don't really matter much in the grand scheme of the DC universe, and they're just in passing. So what's the point of having that book without reading the other two that go with it?
The point of reading that book before you read the other two is that it's the beginning of that trilogy. It is the beginning of the Blackest Night trilogy. When you get to this is the starter. You don't want to just jump into Blackest Night. I tried jumping into Blackest Night, got kind of bored because I didn't know what in the hell was going on. But when you read this and you get the introduction of that, you get the introduction of one of my favorite villains, Sinestro. You get all of that, and including with all the great art, all the great writing that you get from Jeff Johns. It's a great way to introduce yourself to the DC universe, because it is the DC universe. It literally takes place in space. It literally envelops all these different characters from different spans of the DC universe. Whereas Dark Knight Rises, it doesn't really, it deals with Batman and deals with Superman. Okay, those aren't my favorite even to start out with. This is a great way to fall in love with comics. Like, it will make you fall in love with the art. It'll make you fall in love with the writing. It'll make you fall in love with the different characters, even side characters that die that you don't even really get to know very well. You feel it because you see the other people around them and how they interact with them and how they react after they are killed. It's just, to me, it's one of the best comic books that I've ever read.
Okay, so you bring up that it's just Batman and Superman and Dark Knight Returns, which is wrong, because let me get back to me there. Because what it actually is the resurgence of Batman, what we know Batman is as of today, what inspired the Batman '89 movie, what inspired the Batman the Animated Series, what inspired Batman Beyond, believe it or not, what inspired the Arkham series, what inspired the list goes on and on. Sinestro Corps War is a blip on that DC Universe radar. Now, yes, it does have Superman. Yes, it does have the Joker. Duh, but it also brought in the mutants, a new threat that was in the geopolitical stance of that world was just as bad, if not a little worse, than the Joker, which brought Batman back. He's like, okay, if the cops are rolling over and if everyone else is rolling over for these guys, they needed Batman. They needed him. So that caused a domino effect from not only the governors, went to senators, to the president himself, who was, ironically enough, Ronald Reagan, to where he had to bring Superman back in and be like, listen, you gotta go take care of your boy there. That's what started the battle. But started the whole thing was Batman coming back and breaking his retirement. That's what it was. Yes, you can dip your toe into the DC universe with the Sinestro Corps War, but if this is for first-time readers, they don't want to get invested in with like Sinestro and all their backgrounds and such. You want something that's in its own bubble, and the Dark Knight Returns is its own bubble. So the fact that you're like, yeah, it's the DC universe, it's the DC universe and all this other stuff, but it's like, what good is that to a first-time reader if they don't like the Sinestro Corps War? and they're more of the political type, they're going to like the Dark Knight Returns, because the Dark Knight Returns reflects more politics than it does with.
Well, and I get what you're saying, but this is about to getting a newbie interested in the DC universe. What better way to get interested into the DC universe is something that is a soft reboot and gets you started, and you can keep reading. With the Dark Knight Returns, you get the Dark Knight Returns, and you're done. This is a self-contained story that just takes place in its one bubble, like you said. Why am I going to get invested in these characters if there's nothing else after this? When it comes to the Sinestro Corps War, you can get invested in these characters. They will continue to keep moving on. You'll be able to read more of their stories and more of their stories. You even get to, and you mentioned in the Blackest Night trilogy, like this is the best way to start and then get
time. That is time.
All right, guys. I love the heat that we're getting right now. Again, I'm going to read the question before we go into the closing arguments. The question is, a must-read DC graphic novel for newbies. Travis, you started us off, so you're going to begin us with the closing. 60 seconds on the table. When you start talking, Dark Knight Returns, why is it a go-to for newbies?
Dark Knight Returns is a go-to for newbies because it is concealed in a bubble, and you don't have to worry about any backlog history. It's its own continuity, and anything that got done here was obviously undone in later books, and even Rebirth is now starting to move away from what happened back before the New 52. Or was that in the New 52? That's how confusing the DC universe can be, because you have to place where Sinestro Corps War is, where Blackest Night is, where Brightest Day is, outside of the reboots that are constantly happening. So why worry about characters and consequences that would never carry over from an event instead of just its own graphic novel? I yield the rest of my time.
All right. Make sure that Joe can get the timer. We good? Joe, just give me a thumbs up if we're good. All right, cool. Alec, tell me why Sinestro Corps War is a first pickup and a great way to start a newbie off. You got 60 seconds on the clock.
It's right there in the question. What is the best DC graphic novel to start off for a newbie to get interested? And I'll add this, to get interested into the DC universe. It literally did that for me. It got me interested in the DC universe. It got me into more comics, had me going into Preacher, had me going into more Marvel stories, all that, because this story it was basically put together, tied up in a bow at the very end, and gave you another thing to look forward to in the Blackest Night with that little prophecy. You get so many introductions to so many different characters. And one of the most complicated universes, the DC universe, it very neatly maps it all out for you, lets you know who's who, what the rules are in this Green Lantern universe, what the Sinestro Corps can do, what the Green Lantern do. It's super easy to understand. It's super easy to remember and to go back and reread. So that is why Sinestro Corps War is the best graphic novel to go back for newbies. You have my time.
Man, this was a great first question. I wonder who wrote it. Anyway, let's go ahead and go to the big man himself, Kirk. Make some sense of this for me, man. How are you feeling? This was a great first question, a great way to start the whole bracket off. Tell me where you're leaning, man.
Yeah, this was a great fight. They both did a really good job. Alec came on strong early. He was winning the early rounds, and Travis really came in with some great blows late, talking about how this is his story is the modern introduction of what we know about Batman these days. He talked about easing in and how how confusing the DC universe can be. I'm an old school DC fan going back to Crises on Infinite Earths, so I definitely know what he's talking about there and how this is its own thing, but. Going with the question, talking about how it's newbies for the whole DCU, I do have to agree with Alec that his answer resolved the question a lot better with introducing it into the DC, the entire universe, easing you in with a new, like at the beginning of a new story, a new era. So I'm going to Alec the point.
All right, Alec got the first point of this round so far. Joe, make some sense of this for me, man. Where are you leaning on this?
I'm going to have to go with Alec as well. Alec brought up some good points, how it does a very good job of introducing you to the DC universe, which I think kind of with the question being what's good to get a newbie must read is kind of like introducing these characters. Travis brought up some good points himself with was the modern introduction to Batman, but Alec shot back very well with the whole it's self-contained though and people don't know where to go from, and when you're trying to introduce something to a newbie you need to give them where to go, and that's what Sinestro Core War does. Point to Alec.
All right, Alec can take the point for this round. With that spirit, we're going into category number 2. I choose you. Haha, preview. We're going to go into anime, guys. And that's right, anime. It's a thing that us nerds watch every now and then. So, guys, I'm going to ask you a quick question. Name your Gen 1 6 Pokemon that you would take into the battle to battle against the Elite Four. Now, since we started with Travis, we're going to go ahead and go to Alec this time. Alec, what 6 you got that are going to take on the Elite Four and win this championship for you?
All right, guys. The Elite Four is probably, as a video game nerd, one of my hardest things to do. I don't think I've probably done it like 4 or 5 times in my entire career of playing video games. But in order to face the Elite Four, you have to have the perfect roster to be able to withstand each opponent who has a different type. So I'm just going to give you mine, and I'll explain later on why I picked them. My first one is going to be your starter Charizard. You have Hitmonlee, Lapras, Rhydon, Gengar, and Dragonite. And I'll yield my time.
All right, just an introduction. I like it. All right, Travis, which 6 you got going against the Elite Four?
My 6 are going to be your starter, which in my case will be Venusaur. You got Raichu, you got Sandslash, you got Alakazam, you got Pidgeot, and you got Gyarados. Now, as far as any explanation goes, I will do the same thing and I will wait. But as far as why, it's a lot of coverage based off of all the different types that you're going to have. Now, I'm not going to go any further than that. I will yield the rest of my time.
All right, so we're taking it to an actual battle. Gentlemen, choose your first Pokemon. Let's get it rolling. 5 minutes on the clock when one of you start talking. And fight.
First of all, I'm sorry, Travis. Love you. But you messed up by picking Bulbasaur as your starter. Why'd you do that? Everyone knows you go Charmander for your starter. You get Charizard. You have the flying type. You have the dragon type. It's fire. Come on, man. Fire's all the way. He'll basically destroy everybody on Lorelai's team. You have Hitmonlee fighting. Rock fighting's always going to win. Hitmonlee is the better of the fighting Pokemon, I think, in terms of it's between Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. Always go Hitmonlee. Kicks are better than punches. Another one, Gengar, great against Agatha. You have the ghost type. Gengar is probably in my opinion, one of my strongest Pokemon that I use in Pokemon. And Dragonite is able to take on Lance blow for blow. I just think that is the best team. Rhydon you have for backup because he can learn. He can learn Thunder. He can learn different lightning attacks. And then you have Lapras, who as well can learn ice attacks that will help out in later rounds also.
Okay, that is adorable until you think of the long game. Because once you think of the long game from your first gym, and we're talking like we're going to the Elite Four, and then going through the Elite Four. So that journey from A to the 4 is a long one. And the first 2 you come up against is Brock and Misty. Yeah, your Charizard's getting extinguished. That's why you go Venusaur. Strong against water, kind of mutual against rock. That being said, Gyarados would be the one to take out any of the... Give me a second. Fighting type. I had to go through the Pokedex in my head just now. That would take care of any of that because it's water and it's flying. So you got dual coverage there. Now, as far as... Oh, why did I go to my camera? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? What? 1 second. Technical difficult. Okay, here we go. So, Alec is... I should have had these written down. Shoot. I lost my entire train of thought just now. Oh, this is going to turn out just lovely. I'm done.
Well, I get you with the first two. The first two gyms are always going to be your toughest. That's why you face them first with Charmander, because eventually he will learn. Oh, I'm trying to think of something else. I'm actually thinking of Fire Red. I'm going on Fire Red. He learns eventually Metal Claw. He will be able to take down Brock really easily with Metal Claw. And then when it comes to Misty, that's where you get other Pokemon before. By that time, you should already have enough Pokemon to be able to take that on. Mostly for me, you should already have Pidgeotto by that time. And to keep going, you get these Pokemon and they'll get stronger and stronger. Once you get to the Elite Four is where it's the hardest because you cannot leave. Once you're in the Elite Four, you have your potions and that's it. You have to go through with these people. You want to be able to take out each Pokemon with one Pokemon. That's the best way to do it. Charizard will destroy Lorelei with all her ice Pokemon. As long as you have Flamethrower, you have a Fire Blast, one of those two, you'll be able to take them out. Same with, you can also teach him Fly, and he'll be able to escape certain water Pokemon like Dugong. You have Hitmonlee, who's going to absolutely demolish Bruno. You have Gengar, take out all of her Psychic Pokemon with the Ghost attacks. And Dragonite, Dragon on Dragon, it'll be the battle to the death with Lance. And like once you do that, like it's you have Rhydon to be able to take out some of the flying types. You have Lapras to help you out with some of the water types. I mean I don't see how you can even battle me on this. But please do.
Fair enough. You may have a point there, but as soon as my Pokedex is loaded, I'll have an answer for you. But long story short, you are right. You got a lot of that figured out. I will give you that. But as far as for crying out loud, I can't even think. Perfect.
Thinking of the gyms?
No, I'm trying to think of all the types and all the moves I know I have, but I can't think of them off the top of my head right now, which is going to kill me this round. I know that.
Well, I'll give you some of mine. Hitmonlee, you'll get Mega Kick, and he'll be able to destroy Bruno. Gengar, you have things like Nightshade, things like Shadow Ball will absolutely destroy Agatha's Psychic Pokemon. Your Alakazam will not stand a chance against my Gengar. Dragonite, you got Dragon Breath. You have, I believe you can teach him Seismic Toss to even help out a little bit with fighting type. And same thing with Charizard. Same thing with Rhydon. You'll be able to teach him Thunder and teach him Thunder Strike.
That is time on the debate.
All right, guys. I can't with you two.
I'll say every one time. He got the point. I understand. I get it. I get it. You got the point. I understand.
We're going to closing.
Next question.
I love Pokemon.
We're going to closing. But Jesus, guys, he's like, oh, you need help with moves? I got you. Let me give you a few of mine. Hi-ya. So we're going to go over to Alec. Alec, 60 seconds on the clock, man. Finish out strong. I guess Haymaker Travis to where he just taps out. Wrong.
I'm doing that now. What are you talking about? Get me out of this question.
All right. Let's get back on topic. Alec, 60 seconds on the clock. Give us your closing.
All right. As I said, I will. When it comes to my Pokemon, they match up perfectly against the Elite Four. Lorelei is going to get demolished by Charizard. You can even switch him out and bring in Rhydon just to hit him with a real quick Thunder Strike to be able to take out Dugong, or even use Lapras to use an Ice Beam. Hitmonlee is going to run through Bruno with Mega Kick, just as long as you can finish it in each one. Yeah, I believe it's 10 charges. Beat him. It's a one hit. It's super effective. He'll go out. Gengar, Shadow Ball, Hypnosis. Keep hitting him with those, and Agatha will be sleeping, just like Hypnosis will do to her Pokemon. And then Dragonite. You have Dragonite, and by that time, all your Pokemon will be saved up for Lance, because Lance has an incredible amount of Dragon Pokemon. Crazy arsenal. So you have all your other Pokemon that are well healed up and well ready to go to be able to take out Lance. And I should have done this when I was a kid. I yield my time.
All right. Travis, you got your Pokedex up yet?
I'm not even gonna try at this point. It's gonna be a clean sweep across the board.
Listen, we're gonna go ahead and go to you anyway. You got 60 seconds, just bullshit some shit, try and make us believe you. And
Night falls it. Night falls
Travis. Go Travis. I'll root for you, Travis. Go Travis. 60 seconds on the clock. Let us know why your Pokemon are the best.
I wanna be the very best. That's why I chose those Pokemon. But now, as far as why the moves went, because Gyarados Nose Bite, Nose Water Pump, which will take care of any of the Rock Pokemon, which will take care of the Dark Pokemon on its own. I'm not sure if it's a he or she by the time I get to it. Now, as far as why I chose Alakazam, it was this Psychic type, which will do even damage to any of the Psychic Pokemon. Now, as far as Sandshrew, it has Dig, so it can go straight and just kind of do damage. Raichu does obliterate water types with his electric moves. And by the way, this Raichu would have a double team, so it's actually a bit faster than most of them. So it'll automatically get the first hit off. So if you're on that last little bit, and you get that, and you get, why didn't I think of this sooner? And you get that last little bit, and you're at that, you got to get that first crucial critical, and you that would just take care of that. And I'm done. I tried
yielding the rest of his time. All right. So yeah, let's do this. Joe, tell me which 6 Pokemon you would want to have in your corner to face the Elite Four.
I'm gotta go with Alec especially when Travis just essentially conceded the point and said that he just gave up the fight. And with that being said, Alec gave some good reasons. Just a quick clarification: Mega Kick is a normal type move, not a fighting type move. It would actually be weak against the fighting type Pokemon. Charizard is not a dragon type, and Agatha uses ghost type Pokemon, not psychic. But besides that, good clean fight. Alec had more reasons on what his Pokemon could do to the Elite Four. That being said, Alec gets the point.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do mine real quick. Alex getting the point just for the line alone of, oh, you need moves? I've got a few. No, but in all honesty, it just seems like Alec was a little bit more well prepared, or Travis had technical difficulties. We can't decide that fact right now.
I had a brain fart. What do you want from me?
We're going into question 3. This is a chance for Alec to get the first KO of Nerd Fight history, which is just one match so far, which is just you guys. Or Travis could come back and start his winning streak. Let's see what happens. So the category is sci-fi. And my question to you is, who would you recast as Ripley? And since we went to Alec first last time, we're going to go to Travis. 90 seconds on the clock, Travis. Who are you recasting as one of the most badass sci-fi characters ever to be written? Tell me who you got.
I got from the Avatar franchise, from the Fast and Furious franchise, and from some other third thing I can't think of. I got Michelle Rodriguez from Machete. There we go. From Machete, from the Machete franchise. I got Michelle Rodriguez. Why? She is badass from the jump. She takes, all of her characters have taken no crap, and I doubt she does personally either. So it's just with those alone, why wouldn't you have someone with the gravitas and the presence of a Michelle Rodriguez going against the Alien Queen or any of the Xenomorphs? Why wouldn't you? She looks damn fine with a weapon. I'll say that. No. Fanboying aside, I think I would use the rest of my time about now because I think that's all I got.
All right, yielding the rest of his time. Joe, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to restart the clock. All right, perfect. Alec, who are you recasting as this badass female?
The Alien franchise is one of those franchises that has spanned multiple genres. First one, we have Alien. It's a horror, straight up horror movie. It's Jaws in space. With Aliens, it's an action franchise. It's an action movie where Sigourney Weaver is a badass. You know who can play scared? You know who can play a badass? Emily freaking Blunt. We've seen her do it. We've seen her do it with horror recently. We've seen her be a badass in Edge of Tomorrow / Live Die Repeat. I don't know what her title is. It's a great movie, and she's a badass in it. When it comes to she could be what Sigourney Weaver was to that Alien franchise in the beginning. Sigourney Weaver was not a badass in the first one. Sigourney Weaver was terrified. She had never interacted with this creature before. Everyone was killed on her crew, and she became a badass in that second one. You have someone who can play the scared, play the vulnerable, play up to that vulnerability, and then become a badass by growing. She even did it in A Quiet Place, where she was scared in A Quiet Place and became a badass by the end of the movie. So I will yield the rest of my time.
All right. We have two hell of a choices. This is going to be an interesting brawl. Let's see. Is Alec going to take home that KO, or is Travis going to go ahead and fight him off to live another day? I don't know where we're going with this. Anyway, 5 minutes on the clock, guys. Tell me why either Emily Blunt or Michelle Rodriguez is getting this role, and why.
So you want Mary Poppins to be in your Alien franchise? Really? That's who you're going with? And Mary friggin' Poppins. Really? Fine. So you want someone who can play scared. That's not that hard to do. You do that every morning looking in the mirror. I'm not going that far, but I'm just saying. Anyway, as far as who can play whatever kind of roles, that's fine. But being scared at the beginning of the movie is fine. I get the horror aspect of it. That is great and all. But you want someone who can carry the badass action hero from Aliens 2 onward. That would be Michelle Rodriguez. I haven't seen Emily Blunt be that match the caliber of badass that Michelle Rodriguez is. But if you can name something, maybe you can change my mind and get the knockout. I don't know. But I kind of have a hard time thinking it because if this reboot were to happen relatively soon, the first thing on everyone's mind would be Mary Poppins. I was like, why is Mary Poppins in this movie?
It might be on their mind when it's announced, but as soon as it gets into the movie, Emily Blunt is not just Mary Poppins. Emily Blunt is not just A Quiet Place. She is an actress. I'm sorry. I like Michelle Rodriguez in those movies, but is she really a great actress? She has one face. It's a badass face. So when I need her to be terrified for her life, can she do that? No, she'll probably just just look like she always looks in all the Fast movies. And you mentioned she was in the Avatar franchise. Was she really in the Avatar franchise? All she did was fly around the plane and like say something. Like, she didn't really do much. When it comes to Emily Blunt, she she proved to everybody that she could be a badass with Edge of Tomorrow / Live Die Repeat. She was more of a badass than Tom Cruise was. She made Tom Cruise look like a little wimp in that movie, and it's because of how good she was an actress. Everyone knew what Tom Cruise was. Everyone knew Tom Cruise was a great action star, and she was able to surpass him in that film because of her acting. Because of her acting in A Quiet Place, I can believe that she'll be in these situations that you will get in Alien, and be able to sell me on the fact that she's actually scared. I understand that you don't want Mary Poppins, but you will get a badass actress. You will get a badass performance in every single movie that you will get in this updated Alien franchise. You disappeared on me.
If I'm sweating right now, it's because my AC is off. It's not because I don't have my AC is off. Give me a second. Shoot. Oh, wow. Shit. I am legit brain dead. Just call the point already. Just call the match.
I will keep fighting. I get your point of Michelle Rodriguez. She is a badass actress, but she just cannot match the talent that Emily Blunt brings to the game. I'm basically doing my closing right now. She cannot match talent that Emily Blunt brings into the game. I don't want the same old from these horror remakes. I want something that I can dig my teeth into, and I believe Emily Blunt would do that for the Alien franchise.
Michelle Rodriguez can always get better. That's the one thing as an acting. It is a skill that you can always improve on. So giving her the chance to do this might give her the opportunity to improve on those acting chops that you keep saying Emily Blunt already has. Sure, she may have them, but she doesn't have the opportunity to prove her naysayers wrong and giving her with this opportunity. So why have an already established star when you can create a new one with this type of new reflection, a new what's the word? Brain fart.
She could get better. She could get better, but she's been in the game a little bit longer than Emily Blunt has and has not gotten better. Emily Blunt has gotten better from performance to performance. I didn't even know who Emily Blunt was before I watched Edge of Tomorrow, and that made me go back and watch all her old movies and just saw how great of an actress she was in terms of drama. And then bringing that into an action franchise, into a horror movie, just builds on my respect for her even more and why I believe she should take on the iconic role of Ellen Ripley.
Time.
All right. Time. Okay. We are going to go ahead and go over to Travis. Travis, you got 60 seconds to close. Tell us why Michelle Rodriguez would be the perfect fit for Ripley and why Emily Blunt should just die off like Live, Laugh, Repeat. I don't know.
She only died once.
So I want to take this time to congratulate my opponent on his first ever knockout in this game. I appreciate. I am saying you have fought with honor. You've never stepped on my words once. You never made me feel like a moron. I made myself feel like a moron, and just did I yield.
Beautiful words from Travis. Travis, go ahead and mute yourself, buddy. We're going to go over to Alec. Alec, I'm trying to hold this together. Can you hold it together for 60 seconds? And tell us why. Tell us why Emily Blunt should be Ripley.
If you want to see why Emily Blunt should be Ripley, just go back and watch this. I will use my time to thank Travis for this fight. I know how intimidating it is to be in this ring. And my first argument, my heart was pounding. So just letting you know, man, this is not, I will never make anybody feel dumb for coming out here because it takes a lot to do this. It takes a lot to put your knowledge out there on the line and see how much you know. And I don't know, I'm not going to make you feel dumb, man. That's stupid. Like, I love this place and I will never do that. I'll yield my time.
All right. So, Travis, you're a hell of a competitor. I hope this doesn't scare you away. I'm going to make my,
I'm never doing this again. You kidding me? I'm never doing this shit again. I'll judge, but I'm never competing.
Alec is going to get my point. We're going to go over to Kirk. Kirk, who do you got?
Yeah, Alec came out. I mean, Travis said, name me one movie where she's more badass than Michelle Rodriguez. Alec was right there. He said, I give Travis respect. He clawed back at the end. He said, what about trying giving her a chance? Alec had a great point. She's had her chance, and she hasn't done it. So, yeah, Travis, I respect that you really did your best there. I think you had an uphill battle in this one, to be honest with you, with this fight, this particular question. But Alex is my point.
With that being said, with a 3-0 and your first knockout of Nerd Fights, bracket 1 of the tournament, we have the winner, Alec. Good fight, guys. This was an awesome match. We are going to go to the unfortunate loser of the match first. Travis, I know that you already said you're not doing this again, but I really hope you do. You're a super solid competitor, and I really can't wait to see your next match. I hope you come back, man. Tell us what you're feeling about this match, how you feel.
I felt great about the idea of this, and then I realized, oh shit, I very rarely watch movie fights. I'm more of a Schmodown type guy. Fuck! So I was like, well, this will be fun. Let's see what my opponent is. First guy dropped out. I'm like, okay, cool. I hope this doesn't happen again. It didn't happen again. And I got, at least I can say this. I am happy I lost to one of my brothers. and not just some asshole. That is fine. Not saying anyone else out there is an asshole. I'm just saying in general, you are. So, just things. Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. No.
I got you, man. But man, seriously, you did a great job tonight. You could have just easily gave up. I know that you felt like you wanted to, but you didn't. You still stayed in there and hung on to round 3. Let's go to tonight's winner, Alec. How does it feel to get the very first KO in Nerd Fight and be the bracket 1 winner after being a substitute? That is. How does that feel, man?
That feels great, man. I came in late. I really wanted to get into this nerd fight, especially seeing some of the questions that were out there. And after when I saw one of the first questions, it was about Death Note, and I was like, I didn't finish watching that. But when we got our questions here, I felt super comfortable. I love DC. I love Pokemon. I was more worried about that 4th question, so I'm kind of glad that we didn't get there. But hats off to Travis in this, man. It takes a lot to come out here and to, like I said earlier, put all your knowledge out there for others to see and others to critique. I will give a little bit of credit to my victory to Kirk, because he was my first battleground opponent, and I did it within a couple of days, and he took me through the ringer, man. So I kind of learned. I've been studying. I've been watching a lot of movie battlegrounds that I missed. So trying to get a little better at this, and no hard feelings for Travis, man. I hope that you do come back, whether it be to judge or to compete. I think it's one of the most fun things to do. I think just the initial shock of having to debate something that you have to show a lot of knowledge for. It can make your brain make your brain fart, and I mean you see it in the Shimoda all the time.
You had it right the first time. Make your
So it was fun, and I can't wait to face my next opponent in the tournament.
So
I hope they know now that I am not to be trifled with, though.
I'm excited. I'm excited for everybody to continue on. Let me go to my judges real quick. Kirk, man, how are you feeling about this friggin' match? First KO of the season. I'm excited. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah, Alec brought it up. I see such a huge improvement between his last match and this one. He handled himself well in our match, but he was just definitely firing all cylinders today. He did a great job. He was prepared. He knew his stuff. He was passionate about it. Travis, don't hang your head. Come in your first time. It's tough. There's a learning curve. I hope you don't give up. I hope you give another shot. And I think you can get better at this and keep going. But as far as nerd fights go, I'm really excited to see where it goes from here.
Absolutely, man. And Kirk, of course, you're always welcome back. I'm excited to have you in here. Joe, man, tell me, what are you feeling about this match? You're in the very first bracket. I think we'll see your face in other matches as well. How are you feeling about this match, man?
It was incredible. Both strong competitors. I think Alec just kind of came in a little bit more prepared and more confident in his choices and was ready to go back pound for pound and ready to counter the arguments. Travis should not hang his head. He came in strong. He just kind of got down on himself. But I hope to see him in the future. I can't wait to see what Alec does in this bracket, in this tournament. And I can't wait to just see how Nerd Fight grows as we move forward with it.
And of course, I am your commissioner. I am Doug Castle of Nerd Fights and Game Zone. So keep your eye out on these tournaments. It's going to be a blast. We're going to crown a champ of both. And we're going to have some fun. Till next time, bracket 2, bracket 3, bracket 4. Let's get this going, fighters.